Have you ever looked into her eyes and felt something you couldn't explain? Like a storm just beneath the surface, soft, sweet, but strangely dangerous. She made you forget your edge, didn't she? Not because she cast a spell, but because something deep inside you surrendered without even realizing it. Brother, this isn't poetry. This is design. There's a kind of knowledge we don't talk about anymore. Not because it's false, but because it's costly. Because to know it would require you to wake up. Socrates didn't avoid that price. He stepped straight into it. He didn't hate women. He didn't fear them. He studied them. He saw their beauty, their mystery, and their power. But more than that, he saw the way men collapse in the face of it. He warned us, not with bitterness, but with clarity that cut like steel. He said, where men are shaped by logic, by the straight line, the clear cut, women are woven in smoke. Not to insult, but to awaken. What's hidden can't be trusted blindly, and what enchants must be understood before it consumes you. The men around him laughed. They mocked. They condemned. But Socrates didn't flinch. He knew, when a man only sees a woman as she appears, and not as she functions, he's like a soldier admiring the shine of a blade before it cuts him. Beautiful. Deadly. Distracting. Socrates taught by asking questions. So here's one for you. Why does she operate in shadows? Why does her love sometimes feel like a negotiation? Why is her silence louder than her words? If you don't ask, you won't see. And if you don't see, you'll fall, not in love, but in delusion. In the Republic, Socrates laid out the idea of the just soul, where reason rules and appetites serve. So what happens when a man builds his life around a woman he doesn't truly understand? That man isn't building a soul. He's building a shrine to confusion. He also described the tyrant soul, a man ruled by desire, always chasing, never satisfied. Look around. How many men today are trapped in that exact loop, wearing the mask of logic, but enslaved to the need for feminine validation? Building careers, buying things, creating status, not for legacy, but to impress a woman who'll leave the second the shine wears off. But Socrates wasn't warning you about her. He was warning you about you. When you don't understand her nature, she's not your enemy, and she's not your savior. She's your test. And every man will either pass or be broken. We're told to seek beauty. But Socrates knew beauty is bait. What matters is what lies beneath it. Most men don't want to know. They want to feel. So they chase her appearance, her touch, her energy, but forget her pattern, her rhythm, her survival logic. And here's the truth. She's not built to catch you when you fall. Not because she's cruel, but because nature didn't make her that way. She selects, she refines, she adapts, but she does not build you. That's your job. That's your burden. That's your crown. Socrates said, the unexamined life is not worth living. That doesn't just mean philosophy books and deep thoughts. It means examining yourself when you crave her touch, her attention, her affection. If you don't examine it, she will. She'll see what you're hiding, what you're clinging to, and she'll use it, not out of malice, but out of instinct. Just like the river doesn't hate the rock it erodes, she doesn't hate the man she outmaneuvers. She's just being what she is. But are you? Socrates lived in a time when men thought power came from votes, or money, or applause. But he knew real power lives in the man who can't be deceived, especially not by what he loves. You weren't born to orbit her. You were born to govern yourself. Desire, if it's not governed by reason, turns into madness. Divine madness, maybe, but madness nonetheless. In Phaedrus, Socrates described what happens to a man when lust drives his soul. He crawls in circles, wingless, obsessed, always reaching, never flying. How many men are crawling now? How many have traded mission for a moment, purpose for a glance, values for a voice? This isn't just about women. It's about you. You weren't made to be consumed by the feminine. You were made to understand it. Because while men seek truth, Socrates noticed that women often seek something else: security, alignment, safety. That's not a flaw. That's biology. That's survival. But if you don't see it, you'll get lost in her approval and forget your direction. Your sharpest words won't attract her. Your calm presence will. Your ambition. Your certainty. Your vision. But if you give her the crown before you've earned yours, she'll test you until you fall. And she won't feel guilty. She'll just respond to what you revealed. Your soul was up for sale. Socrates taught that the soul has three parts: reason, spirit, appetite. The best man lives where reason leads. But when hunger, emotional, sexual, social, takes over, the man dissolves. You've seen those men. You may have been one. The man who only feels alive when she's looking. The man who loses himself in her moods. The man who lights himself on fire to keep her warm. She can't love what she doesn't respect. And she can't respect what she controls. She won't say this out loud, but it's written in her instincts. And if you keep betraying yourself just to win her, she'll never fully choose you. Socrates didn't give us neat Instagram quotes. He gave us a system of thought, one that pierces through illusions. That system reveals this: a woman doesn't want to lead you. She wants to feel safe in your direction. But if you hand over your purpose to please her, you leave her no choice but to test you, and eventually to walk. This is not about domination. This is about design. She's not here to crown you. She's here to challenge you. And if you can't handle that, you'll keep getting knocked off your axis every time she pulls away. So stop orbiting her. Start orbiting the truth. And if you do that, if you live by principle, not persuasion, if you speak with clarity and lead with strength, she'll follow. Not because you demanded it, but because she can't help it. Power doesn't come from chasing it. It comes from embodying what no longer needs approval. That's what Socrates understood. And that's what men today have forgotten. The moment you stop chasing her validation and start chasing your form, your essence, not your image, you change everything. You stop being a man at the mercy of her moods, and you become a man in control of his own reality. Untouchable. Not because you're cold, but because you're complete. That's the missing wealth of modern men: wholeness. You can't buy it. You can't fake it. It's not handed down. It's forged. In rejection, in silence, in solitude. The ancient temples of Athens weren't built for comfort. They were built for virtue. They were carved out of effort, endurance, and honor. Socrates wasn't trying to win applause. He was trying to live in alignment with what's real. And that starts with one thing: know thyself. Not please her. Not chase her. Not lose yourself trying to earn her love. Just know. Because most men today don't live in clarity. They live in performance. They say what she wants to hear. They play roles. They memorize scripts. They shrink to fit her comfort zone, thinking that's love. It's not. It's fear dressed as romance. It's devotion without dignity. And that never lasts. She doesn't want your mask. She wants your truth. But only if your truth is stable, centered, grounded. You think her love will save you. You think her body will make you whole. Her smile, her softness, her warmth, yes, it's intoxicating. But that's the trap. Because what you're really chasing isn't love. It's relief from your uncertainty, your pain, your lack of purpose. That's not love. That's addiction. And every philosopher knows, the addicted man cannot see clearly. Socrates often spoke of forms, the pure, ideal realities behind what we see. There's a form of womanhood, just as there's a form of manhood. But most modern men? They chase the The curves, the beauty, the energy. They fall in love with the image and forget to ask, what is this energy here to do? What does it protect? What does it take? You want the truth? Here it is. She's not evil. She's efficient. She's not trying to trap you. She's trying to survive. Her instincts are wired sharper than your dreams. And when you're blinded by desire, she sees what you don't, your weakness. You think she doesn't know? She knows. When you shift your tone to avoid a fight. When you edit your truth so she won't pull away. When you hide your pain to look masculine. She feels every part of it. And she tests it. Not to be cruel, but to be sure. Socrates never said this outright, but it's buried in everything he taught. You're either ruled by reason, or you're ruled by desire. There's no third option. A man who walks into her world without a map doesn't become free. He becomes lost. Smiling, maybe, but drifting. And then when it falls apart, he blames her. He says, "She changed. She used me. She left." No. You just weren't ready. You didn't train for the undertow. You dove into a current you didn't understand. But a man trained in reason, who knows himself, who stared his own hunger in the face, he sails. He doesn't resist her nature. He reads it. He adjusts his sail. And she feels that. Not as fear, but as awe. Because the man who can't be moved by her chaos? He's rare. And nature respects what is rare. In Symposium, Socrates tells the story of Diotima, a woman who teaches him that love isn't just about pleasure. It's about growth. Love, she says, is a ladder. You start with desire for a body. Then you climb to the beauty of all bodies. Then to the beauty of minds. Then to the beauty of truth. And finally, to the divine. Most men never climb. They stay at the first rung. They build their lives around the first spark. They rot in the pit of pleasure. They never ask what that spark was meant to lead them toward. But you, brother, you're not meant to rot. You're meant to rise. She is not the destination. She is the doorway. She is the mystery at the gate. She's not your reward. She's your signal. A question, not an answer. The wind, not the harbor. And you? You're the sail. Your strength isn't in overpowering her. It's in not needing her to define you. Let her be complex. Let her be paradox. Let her be woman. But you be man. In the oldest, clearest sense. Measured. Examined. Disciplined. Unmoved by flattery. Unbroken by rejection. Unshaken by beauty. That's the path. That's the edge. That's the call. And here's the thing. Dignity is not given. It is forged. In silence. In solitude. In the nights when no one is watching and no one is coming. That's where you build it. Not in her arms. Not in her validation. In your own unshakable frame. The man who needs her to feel like a man has already lost. Because the moment she senses that her affection is your oxygen, she knows she holds the leash. And once she holds the leash, she loses respect. Not because she wants to, but because it's instinct. She's not your therapist. She's not your savior. She's not the mirror you use to check your worth. You want her to see you? Then stand somewhere worth seeing. Stand where few men stand, on your own feet. In your own fire. Whole. Socrates said, "The shortest and surest way to live with honor is to be in reality what we would appear to be." Every man wants to appear strong, wise, respected. But how many are willing to become that? Not for applause. Not to win her. But because it's who they are. Don't chase her attention. Cultivate your presence. Don't chase her body. Master your appetite. Don't chase her love. Offer her your truth. and let her respond however she will. That is the examined life. Not just what you think, but how you move, how you speak, how you hold yourself when the storm hits. Because that's when the test comes. When she pulls away, when she questions you, when she threatens to leave. That's not a moment to panic. It's a moment to stand still. Not in pride, in presence. That moment when she tests you, it's sacred. That's the arena where boys are broken and men are born. Most flinch. They beg. They twist themselves to please. They abandon their truth just to feel loved again. But not you. You don't collapse. You don't bargain with your core. You don't kneel before confusion. You stand, not to dominate her, but to demonstrate to yourself who you are. Because here's what no one told you. Her test isn't cruelty. It's clarity. When she pulls away, when she withdraws her warmth, when she demands answers without words, she's not punishing you. She's watching, listening, feeling, for something beneath your surface. She's asking, is he real? If your focus shatters when her affection fades, then your focus wasn't real. If your purpose trembles when she questions it, then your purpose was never yours to begin with. She's not the enemy. She's the mirror. And if you resent the mirror for what it reveals, you'll never grow. You'll keep jumping from woman to woman, blaming each one for triggering the same wound you refuse to face. The mature man doesn't demand that she be less. He becomes more. He doesn't ask her to simplify her nature. He deepens his understanding of it. He doesn't tell her to stay. He becomes the kind of man she would never want to leave. Because that's what real attraction is. Not manipulation. Not game. Not tactics. It's self-mastery. It's sovereignty. She doesn't want you needy. She doesn't want you broken. She doesn't want you nice. She wants you true. And that truth doesn't come from how you treat her. It comes from how you treat yourself. Your word. Your time. Your energy. Your mission. Your silence. If you live like your soul belongs to her approval, she'll never respect it. But if you live like your soul belongs to a deeper order, something ancient, something immovable, she will feel that. And she'll trust it. Socrates wasn't loud. He wasn't flashy. He didn't beg to be understood. He dismantled illusions with questions. Quiet. Steady. Unrelenting. And when the state condemned him, he didn't plead for mercy. He chose death over compromise. Truth over comfort. Dignity over popularity. And that's your example. You think you're being punished when she challenges you. You're not. You're being invited to become more solid, more focused, more refined. This is not about alpha, energy, or internet cliches. This is about alignment with the truth, with yourself. Because when you orbit her moods, you stop being the sun. When you let her emotions set your tone, you stop leading. And here's the paradox. The more you seek to earn her love, the less of it you'll receive. Not because she's heartless, but because nature coded her to respond to strength, not submission. She doesn't trust the man who bends to stay in her good graces. She trusts the man who bends only when he chooses to. That's the real game changer, will. Not dominance. Not control. Not aggression. But grounded, disciplined, tested will. The man who can walk away and still be whole. He's the one she can't forget. Not because he threatened her. Because he never needed her to begin with. His fire was already burning. She didn't light it. She only noticed the heat. And this flips everything. Because once she senses that you'd rather be alone than be out of alignment with yourself, you become the man she aligns with. Not because she's submitting, but because she finally sees a man she can trust. A man who isn't shaped by her praise, a man who doesn't flinch at her fire. She will test your core, not to break it, to find it. And every time you panic, every time you shift for her approval, every time you bend your values for her comfort, you tell her exactly where your limits are. And once she sees those limits, her heart steps back. Not because she's cruel, but because now she knows, if she can move you, the world can too. And if the world can move you, how can she be safe with you? You want her loyalty? Then build a kingdom she can believe in. Not one made of charm or charisma, but one built on principle, restraint, direction, stillness. Do not fear her emotions. Do not fight her tests. Let them come. Let her storm rage. You are not the sky. You are the mountain. And here's what that kind of man unlocks: peace. Not comfort. Not ease. Peace. A clarity that doesn't need her softness to survive. A center that isn't thrown off balance by rejection or silence. That's what the world is starving for. Not louder men. Not angrier men. Clearer ones. The kind who don't bend for likes, who don't fold to trends, who don't sell their soul for intimacy. Men who stand, not because it's easy, but because falling is no longer an option. You become a beacon. Other men see you. They remember who they were supposed to be. And that ripple? That's your legacy. This message is not for everyone. It's not built for mass appeal. It's for the seekers, the builders, the few who feel that ancient ache to rise, not with ego, but with essence. So rise, not against her, but for you. Let her test you. Let her question you. Let her be the wind. But you, be the mast. Be the form. Be the ground. Socrates knew this. That power isn't in being desired. It's in being undisturbed. It's in being chosen because you stood firm, not because you begged. She will respect what does not move. She will orbit what doesn't chase. Not because she's submissive, but because she's wired to respond to gravity. And gravity only comes from depth. So don't chase her. Build yourself. Don't demand her love. Deserve her trust. Don't seek to own her. Learn to own your space, your values, your vision. And then, if she walks with you, let it be because she sees a man she cannot shake. A man who doesn't just talk about truth, but lives it. You were not made to kneel for affection. You were made to guard the gate of truth. That's where Socrates stood. That's where every man must return. Not to dominance, but to discernment. Be that man. And walk forward, unshaken.